Hey guys, just jumping on this morning to go over your package for at-home learning this week. We are changing up our June activities for music. We are going to do some hands-on work this week in the class with some Boomwhackers and some bucket drums over this week and next week, and then do a listening activity at the end of the month. Because we are at home learning this week, I'm going to do our listening activity now, and hopefully we will be back in the classroom the following 2 weeks, and we can do some of our percussion stuff together, okay? So, for this listening activity, we are kind of reviewing and going over some of the things that we have talked about so far this year as far as what we're talking about when we're having a listening activity, the ways that we respond, so some of the terms that we use, some of the things that we're talking about, okay? So it's been a little bit of time since we've done one of it, like a formal one where you're writing down thoughts and things that I'm asking you specifically. So I did a little sheet here on the front for you of things that I want you to remember, and kind of going over and explaining those things again, what those things mean and what they look like, okay? So things like style and mood. The style of the music is if it's pop music, if it's orchestral, if it is country, if it is classical, all of those different things, okay? And I've given you some options down along here, and there's lots of different styles of music, right? So feel free, if something's not listed on here and you want to write it down on your sheet, go right ahead, okay? The mood is how it makes you feel. That is your own particular response, okay? When you are looking at here for the mood, and even here with your style, there's some options here for you. If there's one that you don't think it fits in there, feel free to write it down on there. Otherwise, you can circle one. The same thing with the mood. There's lots of different options that are on here, but it might not, those words might not fit kind of how you're feeling or how that song makes you feel. Feel free to use these lines here to write those things down for me, okay? Going back to your first sheet, when you're looking at instrumentation, that is a big word that just talks about the instruments that are used, okay? And it also talks about what voices you might hear. If you hear a choir, if you hear an ensemble, which is a smaller group of people, if you hear a solo, if you hear a lower voice, which is generally male, or a higher voice, which is generally female. All of those things are part of that listening activity, okay? So again, when you're looking at your sheet, you are going to look right here. So it's talking about all these different instruments that you can circle. There's different voices that you can circle in here. And again, if there's something that's not listed that you hear that you want to tell me about, feel free to put it on those lines below at the bottom of that box, okay? Now, next one, rhythm and tempo. Our tempo means fast or slow, sometimes in the middle. Sometimes it changes in the song. Sometimes it stays the same, okay? The rhythm is talking about different patterns that you hear. Sometimes there's just different patterns that happen all the way through the song. Normally, there's one or two patterns that will repeat itself all the way through the song at different times. So if you hear that, make sure that you let me know, okay? Then we move on to dynamics. Our dynamics are how loud or how soft a piece of music is. And it generally changes throughout a song. Sometimes it stays the same, but for the most part, it kind of goes back and forth between loud and soft because it gives the song what's called texture or some depth, because then you don't get bored listening to it. You can kind of tune out after a while if a song is the same volume or has the same dynamics all the way through. Okay? Now, I'm going to show you here for rhythm and tempo. Okay, you've got some options here. Again, feel free to write some thoughts down here for me. Same thing with dynamics, okay? You've got a lot of different options on here. Don't forget to write down the name of the song and the composer. Some of the work that I'm getting back doesn't have those options on there, and those are easy check marks that you can have as part of your evaluation when I'm taking a look at this, okay? And again, your final thing here is your rating. 5 being the best thing you've ever listened to and you absolutely love it. And 1 is you are grating on my ear nubs. This is not my favorite thing that I've ever listened to. Okay? And then if you want to tell me anything else that you think about the song, feel free to write that down there for me. Okay? So again, we've talked about this a couple other times in our at-home learning. If you need anything over the week, you have the option of contacting me on the Facebook page, contacting me via email, leslie.scully@hillsideschool.ca. You can also contact me on Google Classroom. I've had a bunch of you do that over the time that we've been doing at-home learning, and I appreciate and I really love that you are using the tools that you have to be able to get in touch with me when you need to, okay? I will be posting this on the YouTube page. All of your listening activities are on there. You should have, I believe, about 4 different choices for you to take a listen from. You're going to be listening to some orchestral pieces of contemporary music. So things like when we listened to Crazy Train last week with Ozzy Osbourne, and it was all of our xylophones and our marimbas. I've kind of done a similar thing with different songs so that you can kind of hear things a little bit differently when it's played by an instrument, but it's still kind of fun and interesting to take a listen to. Everything is there on that YouTube page, so you don't have to go searching for it, okay? Again, any questions, contact me. I hope that we are back together in the classroom next week. Make sure that you get some time to be outside and to enjoy this wonderful weather, and be safe, and hopefully I'll see you soon. Bye.